previously on the Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast.
The Andy and J.J. Dalton Foundation has donated millions of dollars to help Cincinnati families, sick kids, local hospitals. They estimate they've impacted 5 million lives.
That's amazing.
So he's done a great job. Here's a story about Andy Dalton. Last year they're playing in Oakland. Auden Tate gets hurt, neck injury, I believe. They get on the plane. They're coming home. Andy Dalton has a first-class seat. It's behooves his status as a veteran on the team.
I never had that.
Well, you're never a quarterback, son.
That's right.
Andy Dalton.
That's right.
Can you tell when I get up or get involved in my morning devotion a little bit too much? The open stays the same as the previous show.
Yes.
I didn't want you knocking on the door, banging on the door.
I don't.
Getting everybody
driveway.
You sit in the driveway and wait for me to open the front door? Is that what you wait on? Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, okay. You were a little early this morning.
I'm a slave to you, to the state, to everybody.
How long did you sit in my driveway this morning?
5 minutes.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Before I came out? Before I came up?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
my
don't want to
goodness.
wake you up.
Well, you didn't wake me up, buddy. I was down here getting the podcast studios set up. I'm going to look at my phone here to see if you texted me that you were here.
No, I didn't
I don't
text you.
see anything.
I didn't text you. I didn't want to bother you.
Okay, well, you're not bothering me. I would have just said I'm not ready yet. So I know I like to have the studio all ready to go when you walk in, but I was not. I needed about 3 more minutes today. But
All right.
But I'll explain why
I'm looking forward to
later
it.
in the podcast.
I'm looking forward
It's a very
to it.
cool moment this morning. Good morning. It's a Wednesday edition of Spielman and Hooley We Tackle Life podcast. I thought we'd talk today about the passing of Don Shula, about maybe our expectations for the Bengals and Browns. Justin Fields is the Heisman favorite. I did a little hit with Sports Illustrated yesterday on that, and Mel Kiper says Justin Fields is gaining on Trevor Lawrence as the way too early prediction number 1 overall pick in the draft. I don't know that I'd want to be projected as the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I remember a few years ago, I can't give you the exact number of years, but at this time of year, it's always trendy to talk about who's the next number 1 overall pick in the draft. And a few years ago, it was Geno Smith. And Geno Smith ended up not going in the first round. And a lot of times there are a bunch of quarterbacks projected at this time of year to go in next year's NFL draft. And then the longer you see them, the more warts you see or think you see. I don't expect there are going to be a bunch of, if any, warts on Justin Fields. But as we go into the 2020 college football season, and we're going to predict that it's going to happen because we hope and we think things are trending that way. Whether the Poobahs will agree or not is open to speculation. But I think Justin Fields is going to have a great year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a great year.
I like them both. I think they're both unique. One thing Justin, I thought, can improve on and needed to improve on last year, and he did slightly as the year went on, is pocket presence and understanding where pressure is and where it's coming from. Not saying he certainly has the mobility to escape it and do all those types of things, just a little bit better, more natural feel inside the pocket. I thought he held the ball a little bit too much sometimes last year, which is, that's fine. That shows he's not afraid to take a hit. He's a tough kid. We know that. He's a really good player. I mean, a really good player. I do think some of his game can be improved, but the thing that I was impressed with last year that I thought was a question mark, because I heard it was a question mark, and this was a good lesson for us all to understand. Trust your own eyes. Don't always go by what you hear. Was he had accuracy issues, and that was not the case. I thought he was tremendous last year, and I think Trevor Lawrence is a good player. All these guys are good players. They're only going to get better, and they're going to, I think, both benefit from playing another year of college football.
Well, when we go back in time, I'm trying to think debate between who's 1 and who's 2. There really wasn't a debate between Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III.
No, not from the perspective.
Andrew Luck was just, they talked about Andrew Luck being the best prospect since John Elway. The debate that I recall, and I'll go back here and look at previous NFL drafts in a moment, but the debate that I recall, and I think that most people recall, was between Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. I could see where this could become as debated as Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, because as you've talked about many times, when we've talked about what we like in quarterbacks, you like a mobile quarterback.
Yes.
Some people like a pocket quarterback. Now, I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan right now, you're doing a double take going, hey, Bruce, did you watch the Fiesta Bowl and did you watch Trevor Lawrence run 63 yards for a touchdown? He is not a statue back there, but I think Justin Fields, I would say, is, when healthy, he wasn't in the Fiesta Bowl, but when healthy, he's a bit more mobile than Trevor Lawrence. I would say he is. You don't agree?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think it's enough to put me over the top on top of the
Okay.
Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence race right now. I think Trevor Lawrence is in the lead right now, but that could change. That certainly could change because nobody at this time last year had Joe Burrow as being the first pick overall.
No,
and it wasn't even close.
He's the anti-Geno Smith.
Yeah.
He went from like the 4th round to the number 1 overall pick.
And it wasn't even close, by the way. Now, Joe just had the best year of any college quarterback in the history of football last year. And the amount of talent that was around him was also amazing, which helped Joe shine. So that brings us to Justin Fields, okay? So we know we have a couple guys back with some experience, but it's pretty much a brand new receiving core, brand new running back, brand new couple new offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Justin is so good, and the quality that we look for, and it's so rare to find in NFL quarterbacks, the two that come to mind that elevate everybody around them. I have 3 that immediately came to my mind: Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and of course Tom Brady.
Yep.
Those are 3 that come to my mind that automatically elevate. They don't need a good supporting. They're NFL players, so they're good players, but they don't need superstars around them to elevate their game. They have a unique talent of elevating really good NFL players to be really, really good NFL players.
Yes. What about, although he is not doing it now, literally not doing it now for anyone, but in the year he was MVP, what about Cam Newton?
I was never a fan of Cam Newton. Anybody that's watched me do NFL the last few years, Cam Newton completes less than 60% of his passes. I think Cam has great qualities. I think he's good, tough. But if you're asking me to pick top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League, he doesn't even enter in my mind.
I agree. I just think it's interesting that 1 year, did they have Steve Smith? Or was Steve Smith in Baltimore?
The year that he was MVP?
He was MVP and they went to the Super Bowl? I don't know if they had Steve Smith. I can't remember who they had. Muhsin Muhammad. Who was their running back? Am I overlooking a great running back?
No, that was their team, had a great defense. Cam was a really good player too. Just because
Greg Olson.
Yeah.
Greg Olson.
With Cam Newton, and I'm not comparing him to Mark Rypien, but Mark Rypien, the year the Redskins killed us and beat the Super Bowl, had the best year of any quarterback.
Yeah.
And you could say that about Cam Newton. I mean, Cam had a great year that year. He played really, really well. But if you're going to pick top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now, if you pick Cam Newton, if Cam Newton was a top 10 quarterback in the league, you think he'd be on a team?
I think if he was a top 20 quarterback.
There you go. That's a really good. I was trying to be nice, but of course you're a fount of truth.
Well, thank you. That's a nice way of putting it. I could have just said you're a jerk. So
No, that's true.
Back to Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. When you think about what NFL teams are looking for, checking boxes, size, check. Ability to throw the football and play from the pocket, check. The other thing that they have that so many times quarterbacks don't have, they have a bunch of college starts under their belt. And I'm anxious to see what Justin Fields becomes with a second year of Ryan Day's coaching. And Ryan Day has remarked about how he's interested in seeing a quarterback at Ohio State under his tutelage as a starter for 2 years, because he's not had that. He had J.T. Barrett, and then he had Dwayne Haskins. And then he had Justin Fields.
It's another test of coaching ability, right? And a natural improvement from, you've heard me talk about this many years, maybe some of our new listeners haven't heard this. There's always expected now a natural improvement from first year to second year starter. The interesting study that I will look at is how much this will hinder, if any, the growth of Justin Fields and the growth of all the young players because of the forced lockdown that we're under, and that these kids can't get together or they'll get arrested or cited if there are more than 10 of them playing catch. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
Big Ten put the kibosh on anything on campus until June the 1st. But there are schools around the country saying they're having school in the fall. I was looking at the list last night. Power 5, I think Baylor? Baylor, yes. Baylor was the only Power 5 school that I saw.
Well,
but the Iowa guy's talking about playing football June the 1st. So's the
Yeah.
Arkansas guy.
Well, you know, Texas is known as a freedom-loving
Yeah.
state.
Yeah. Texas and you said before the SEC is going to play. Gene Smith had said several weeks ago, and things always change, so it's not really fair to hold anyone to anything they said a month ago. I'm just bringing it up so that you can factor in that things change.
Mm-hmm.
Gene said a month ago that he feels the decision on playing college football will be a national decision, not a league-by-league decision. And I don't know how that would look if, you know, Gavin Newsom in California says you can't play, so the Pac-12 can't play because they have, what, 4 schools in the
Good.
Pac-12?
Bring the American in, and they can go do something.
Bring the
else.
American into the Pac.
Yeah,
Will
they
we
can
notice
say-
a difference if the American plays in the Pac-12?
Not really. I mean, Oregon.
Oregon, yeah.
Utah's a pretty good team.
Utah's
Every year.
Utah's okay. Utah in the Big Ten would equate to Wisconsin, wouldn't you say?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's not bad.
Yeah, they're
That's
okay.
good.
Yeah, Wisconsin's okay.
No,
They're not
it's-
Ohio State.
No, but
The
there,
one
how many Ohio States are there? There's Alabama.
There's one in the Big Ten.
There's Ohio State. There's Clemson.
Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State.
Those are top 3. What'd you
Georgia.
say?
Georgia's in Georgia.
LSU, maybe.
Georgia can see Ohio State. Like if Georgia's
Georgia could see Ohio
Georgia's
State.
running a race with Ohio State, like Ohio State's on the same straightaway as Georgia, but Georgia's just rounding the one curve as Ohio State is way ahead rounding the other curve. But Georgia could get there if they had a great year.
Put
Maybe keeping Justin Fields would have helped that.
I
Georgia.
put LSU up there too. I think LSU
Yeah.
is in the ballpark. Those 4
Yeah.
that I think everybody else is chasing. To be honest with you,
Well,
that's just the way it is.
hey, I mean, you talked about the talent around Joe Burrow. Nobody knew about. Nobody really knew the depth and breadth of LSU's talent until Joe Burrow tied it into a nice, beautiful package.
Yeah.
And maybe he can do that for the Bengals this year. So the Bengals are not without talent. Would you agree?
I think their frontline talent's pretty good. They're going to be better on the offensive line. Tyler Boyd is a guy that I really like. I think a lot of people like Tyler Boyd. Unfortunately, he plays on a bad team, so not a lot of people hear about Tyler Boyd. He's a 1B. You look at 1B, and of course AJ Green, of course, is a 1A. John Ross can be good and has been effective when healthy. Eifert, did he retire or what's his deal?
No, he signed with somebody else, I believe.
All right, well, if they find a tight end, Joe Mixon.
They got Uzama. Just a guy.
Yeah. Joe Mixon, of course, is a really good player.
Yes.
They need to, and they address this in the draft, but they addressed it with free agency, but their defense is just horrific last year. I mean, guys try hard, but so does everybody in this world.
Well, they've upgraded the defense. They've upgraded the offense. They spent in free agency. They have Joe Burrow. I'm trying to remember, who else did they get in the draft? Did they get a
They got
wide
a receiver,
They
yeah.
got a receiver.
T. Higgins.
Well, they got T. Higgins, right. They got T. Higgins.
So
So here's who they have, the Bengals. They have everybody in the AFC North, of course. At home, New York Giants. They could win that game.
possible.
Jags.
Jags, I think, will be better this year.
Everybody says the Jags are tanking. I really like the Jags draft.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody's
Minshew,
tanking. Nobody's tanking.
Titans at home and Cowboys at home. Those are tough. Andy Dalton. Maybe Dak Prescott will be injured.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Dak Prescott injured. Andy
Return
Dalton
of the
starting.
Red Rifle.
The Red Rifle returns. And then away. Can they win any of these road games? I would say in the division, no. At Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, at Cleveland, no.
You don't think it can beat Cleveland?
Well, anybody can beat Cleveland. So maybe I spoke too soon there.
All right.
Away, Washington Redskins.
Win that one.
Yeah, they can. Joe Burrow against Chase Young. It's kind of a nice, little interesting
Yeah,
1-2
how about
pun. Dwayne Haskins.
Joe Burrow versus Dwayne Haskins.
Haskins. Boy, wouldn't it
The
be
rematch.
Wouldn't it be nice?
The
if
rematch
you-
from spring
is that-
football.
I never can keep track of Fox and CBS and who has what and what the parameters are. Is it conceivable you and Tom Brenneman could get? You did a bunch of Redskins games,
We did beat.
but this game's in Cincinnati.
The
You've
only
done
reason
games
we
there
did
before.
Redskins games was because the NFC East was playoff berth. Were up for battle. here's how the schedule works. Usually, I think it's going to be totally different this year. I have a little theory on that if you want me to get into that in a minute about TV coverage, what
Okay.
I would do.
Okay. Because the season's going to be different? Or
no,
what?
because we're living under a everybody's going to die mentality.
Well, that's what I mean. The season's going to be different.
I think, well, normally how it works is Fox does all the NFC games. CBS.
In their home stadiums, you mean?
So, no. If it's NFC, Fox will do it. If it's NFC at an AFC, Fox will do it. So then it's vice versa for CBS.
Yeah.
If it's AFC versus AFC, CBS does it.
Okay.
If it's AFC at an NFC team, CBS will do it.
So essentially, your network, Fox is an NFC. Let's say they're an NFC. You own your team on the road. I was thinking you own your team at home. You own your team on the road.
On the road. Now, they also have something where there can be switches. You have a certain amount of switches. I don't know how that works. Somebody tried to explain it to me, and you might as well try to explain nuclear
quarterback rating.
I just whatever they figure something out. So CBS will swap a game with NBC, then Fox will swap one 2 years later for something. You know, it's like
a game to be named.
Yeah, it's a game to be. Yeah, some of it's like that. And so, and then ESPN and Monday Night Football, of course. So, but the general rule is that.
Okay.
Here's what I think. If I were Fox or CBS, this is what I would do.
So you'd have the Redskins at the Bengals. NFC, you own them on the road.
No.
Fox.
Redskins at the Bengals?
Yeah,
I thought the Bengals at the Redskins.
No, let me check. I think it's at the Bengals. Oh, you're right. I was like, okay, yeah. No, you wouldn't have that.
No, I wouldn't. But I could because I've done that before. I've done 2 AFC teams in a swap week before. There's just what I've learned to do is that, you know, for a general rule, keep it like this, but don't be surprised if you're doing AFC at NFC or AFC versus AFC. It just depends on the week, especially as you get later in the week and you get that picked scheduling or where NBC starts to pick games or flex, they call it flex scheduling, then it can change. But here's how I envision, if I were Fox or CBS and I was running the show, I would say I would have all my, and I would get together and say, look, let's do all our, for reasons of travel. Like it probably costs $1 million a week to put a game on. You know, just the trucks and the equipment and the crews and the travel, all that. Probably $1 million a week. Whew. Maybe a little less. And I'll say 500 to $1 million, but I'm not sure. I thought I read $1 million or talked to somebody who said it was $1 million, but that's beside the point. What I would do is I would say, okay, I got Spielman and Brenneman living in Ohio. You know what I do? I put them on Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Chicago, Indiana, and Nashville games.
Yeah.
And Tennessee games.
Sure, makes sense.
We can drive to all those games.
Yes.
You would save a bunch of money. Now, I don't know if they want to do that. Maybe they are talking about that.
Maybe now.
Doing that because of, you know, everybody's taking a hit.
Nobody wants to fly on planes now.
Right. I mean, everybody at Fox took a 15% pay cut.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, breaking news there.
Yeah, it is breaking, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's fine. I have no problem doing that because that's what the company needs. And
well, you sacrificed a lot.
So, well, but everybody's doing it.
Sure.
And so even if obviously Troy Aikman's 15% isn't Chris Spielman's 15%. You know,
it's more, but it's less because Troy's getting paid.
But Troy's doing it, and Steve Shanks and Brad Zager and Jacob Ullman, those are the 3 top executives of Fox. They're all doing it, which is fine. Good. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm happy to do it. But that would make sense to me because, first of all, you cut off all the airplane travel, which, you know, supposedly it's not safe yet to fly on planes. I don't know. The other thing is, you know, we wouldn't have to go in on a Thursday. I can drive in Friday morning.
Sure.
You can, you know, you'll still have a hotel you have to stay at. But I think that would be the way to go. So you look at all the broadcast teams, you match those teams with whoever, and you have them do either a regional broadcast. The other thing I heard that might happen, this might happen for college football. I don't think it will happen in the NFL. Maybe it'll be for some of the lesser games where we could possibly be doing games in studios.
I heard that. I don't like it.
I don't think the NFL will.
I think it's going to make it harder on you as an analyst because your view of what you see, you're always so good, and this is the test for analysts, is tell me why, don't tell me what. And
Well,
when you see, and anyone who's been to a football game knows what you see when you're in a stadium is much different than what you see when you watch on television.
I think though that hopefully I would have the luxury of, there's one camera.
The all
I don't
new,
watch,
the all
I watch
24.
the big wide thing because I can see things develop.
Do you? You don't want? Do you watch a camera during a
No,
feed during a game or live?
Here's my routine. This is and each guy does it different, and there's not one way that's a right way. It's just my way. What I do is I watch the play live. Then right before the play ends, or I anticipate it's going to end, they have a guy that's running the all 22 camera.
Mm-hmm.
I have that monitor right to the right of me, right at eye level. Before the play's even over, my eyes are going there, and this guy is rewinding this super fast, and he keeps rewinding it back and forth. And by the time, if I don't see it happen on the field, by the time Tom's done saying what happened,
yeah,
I've watched that play 2 times within 6 seconds.
Okay.
So that's my routine.
Okay.
That's how I do it. And
that's the gift that you had as a linebacker is helping you as an analyst because you're seeing the game quickly as you saw it as a linebacker, and reaction was what helped you compensate for your egregiously slow 40 time.
Yeah, and thank you.
In the eyes of Mel
Kiper.
Kiper.
I wasn't a state champion.
Well,
but,
Mel Kiper said, what? You'd be like a 4th round pick or something?
Fifth.
But
Thank
you, Mel.
I wasn't state champion.
Not twice.
So that's right. As I'm reminded of every show for some reason.
Because you remind yourself of it.
No. First of all, it wasn't egregious.
What was the 40 time?
And I regret your nefarious statement.
Oh, it's a nice word. What was your 40 time, sir, at the NFL scouting?
I don't recall.
You know, Dan Patrick will occasionally have someone on and read their scouting report, pre-draft scouting report. I wonder if I could find that.
Have Rick will send you one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Because Rick has it on the wall.
Yes. What's yours say, Rick? Free agent reach. will no doubtly be cut.
That's a pretty good comeback on your part.
Yeah.
Southern Illinois.
Yeah, but see, I got nothing on you because all you got to do is throw up the West Jefferson Hall of Fame, which I was a proud. Was I your inductor?
West Liberty Salem Hall.
Or whatever.
The Rough Riders don't want to claim me. Trust me.
Did I induct you?
You didn't induct me, but you were so kind to come, and you spoke, and you gave them a big check, and they love you there, man. They love you.
Well, maybe I can get an honorable state championship.
Maybe you can.
Since I couldn't get one, I couldn't get one at Massillon. Maybe I can get one at West Jefferson.
West Liberty. Hey, I got something that'll make your pain go away from your 15% pay cut at Fox.
What's that?
We have a new sponsor, Spiels. A new sponsor. You say, wait a minute, is that new, Bruce? If you're a P1 listener to the podcast, you go, wait a minute, I know all about AU info. No, this is newer than new. Willis Spangler Starling Attorneys in Hilliard, right on Truman Boulevard.
Nice.
Very easy to find. Willis Spangler Starling, a really cool firm. I was in their offices yesterday talking to them. And
Were you allowed to be in there?
I was allowed.
Did you have a mask on?
I did not have a mask on.
Then you need to be reported.
They had some people in there with masks. They had some people not in there with masks. And as I was waiting for Mr. Willis to come out and talk to me, I was looking around. I like to take, in the scenery and see if there's anything I can pick up about the firm. And there's a sign on the wall, and this is what the sign said. Live with purpose, relate with respect, act with integrity, serve with compassion. Work with enthusiasm, listen with empathy, speak with wisdom, succeed with humility. And I thought,
I'm good.
They fit us.
Yeah.
They fit us. They're about the same values that we are. So they're
humility, especially.
Yeah, right? Humility, especially. We're all about that here with our 2 state championships,
4-time
and
Pro
our
Bowler,
College Football Hall of Fame,
2-time All-Pro.
All about succeeding with humility. But they are a full-service law firm. I was thinking to myself, if you're a guy starting out, and a lot of the guys on our listen to our podcast are very, very successful, and they kind of hit what they think is like the finish line of one race, and then they're starting a new race. They're married, they got a family, they got a good job, and now they're really embarking on maybe 15, 20, 30-year career. You want an attorney that you can call for any kind of issues that come up, and Willis Spangler Starling is that firm. So
I need their card.
Check them out on the web WillisAttorneys.com, and their local phone number 614-586-7900. 614-586-7900. I will give you their card.
I want to meet these guys.
Mr. Willis would be happy to talk to you.
I want to see what
you and Mr. Willis could have some fascinating conversations. He is.
Does he go by Mr. Willis?
He does not. He goes by Stan.
Okay.
He will call me and he will say, "Don't call me Mr. Willis. Call me Stan." His son Trey is going to High Point University on a full baseball
North
scholarship.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Great. Congratulations.
Right there in Hilliard. Yep.
I'm good. I look forward to meeting them.
Look forward to meeting them.
Absolutely. So how many sponsors is that?
We have 3 now. Hemisphere Coffee Roasters, which I'll tell you about a little later, but I think most people know about. And I'm going to Hemisphere today. Are you out of coffee?
They do a good job.
Okay, fantastic.
I just was thinking this morning about that. I'm not blowing smoke here because I don't have to. I think like I had the Jamaican
Me Crazy, yeah.
Whatever that is, and it was great. And I've had that every day now because I go through whatever I pick out of the pot, and so I've been picking Jamaican Me Crazy out of the pot every day, and it's really good, and it would be good in an office. So I don't know if people are doing that get pods or stuff, but I'm sure their prices are competitive. I don't know, but I know it's such a different coffee. And I thank them for that. And I don't mind saying that. It's just different. And it's much better. And it's not bitter. And it doesn't make me cringe. And I'll tell you, I had 4 cups. I went 27 miles on the Peloton yesterday. And I had the kids up and running down the Jamaican Me Crazy while I'm on the Peloton. So.
A Jamaican Me Crazy coffee relay.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm at 2,800 miles, by the way.
2,800 miles. So here's an idea. If you are in office and you'd like to sample Hemisphere Coffee, email us, SpielmanHooleyPodcast@gmail.com, SpielmanHooleyPodcast@gmail.com, and I'll bring you some samples of their K-Cup offerings, or if you like it in, when you get it real fine, is that roast? Is that what that's called?
I don't know.
Roast?
I don't know.
If you want to roast your own or grind your own beans, you can buy the beans from them.
I'm all about simplicity, my friend. Efficiency. Yep. And simplicity.
So how many different varieties when you just grab a pod, your
I've had them all.
Wild card, how many different kinds would you say you've had of Hemisphere?
I've had them all and I like them all.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not picky about whichever one I get.
HemisphereCoffeeRoasters.com. Get your 15% off with the promo code We Tackle Life in all caps. And if you would like to donate that back to COVID-19 relief, you can. Tell them in the comment section, I'm a Spielman and Hooley listener. They'll donate 20% of sales to COVID-19 relief. We draw 4 names Friday, and how many do you know now? Is this our 7th week?
I'm gonna let you figure that out.
I'll calculate that.
You're the numbers guy.
So on the way to $40,000 in COVID-19.
We're either going to the end of January or the beginning of February.
Wow.
Is what I calculated is 40 weeks.
Fantastic.
From where we started. We just got to figure out that first time where we started, what day that was. Probably, I think this is this was our 5th or 6th week, I would think.
I think it might be 6 or 7.
Okay, good. Well,
yeah.
And the other thing is with that, just so you know, as of Monday evening, and not due to our lack of communication, but we finally got everybody paid from last Friday, so
okay,
that's exciting.
Well, that's pretty quick.
Well, to me,
I know you'd like to have it done by Friday noon.
Well, it's just. I have a few pet peeves in life, or a few things that I get anxious about, and I'm one of those guys, Bruce. And I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but if I look down and I have on my email a red number above it, I got to pull over.
That you haven't returned an email,
or that I haven't read it,
really?
Or if I have a text, I got to pull over. I'm not going to read it while I'm driving, but I got to pull over. I can't stand having any red numbers on my thing, so I can't stand having anything outstanding. I don't like to. Now, I've always heard 2 pronunciations, but I'll trust you. Procrastinate. Procrastinate.
Yes.
I don't like to procrastinate. Say it again.
Yeah. Procrastinate.
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 It's
one of those words that the more you say it, the more confused I get how to say it.
By the way, I was King Spelling Bee champion.
Excellent.
In Mrs. Wormley's
don't tell me,
5th grade
Longfellow Junior High?
No, elementary school.
But am I right? Longfellow Junior High?
Yeah, poets.
The Longfellow Poets.
Thank God they changed that name.
For those of you who don't know, Mr. Spielman is a pretty good. Are you an author when you write poetry?
No, I think I'm a poet when
Okay.
I write poetry.
You're a poet. I didn't know it.
Thank you, Muhammad Ali.
Here is a yes, sir. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Here is a nomination from all the way from Honolulu.
Nice.
Hemisphere told me yesterday we have people ordering from Texas, California.
That's why you should
Honolulu.
be a supporter of this show.
That's right.
You get business from all over.
That's right. He says, "Aloha, Chris and Bruce," from Andrew Dahl. I wanted to let you know that professional musician Dave Clow from the Nashville area has played the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer every year since 2008. He has held a campfire concert every Sunday evening, 8 p.m. for the last 6 weeks, and gives a percentage of his tip jar to the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. He raised over $1,000. I was wondering if you might consider giving him a shout out on your podcast.
Thanks, Dave.
There we go.
Great job, buddy.
Great job.
Dave Clow, Nashville.
Dave Clow, Nashville. I thought it was a nomination. It was a shout out. So he snuck that one in. That's proof I don't read the emails ahead of time. But that's okay.
No,
But we like people doing good things for charity. All right, back to the Browns, because we went through the Bengals schedule. Let's go to your Cleveland Browns schedule for 2020. By the way, the NFL is going to have a big Thursday night schedule review.